Hello and welcome to Jazz After Dark, everybody. How you doing? Good, good. It is really late here, but something was on my mind. This is the Breckenridge bourbon that we have here. Just a little bit, because it's really late. Very good, by the way. It's the Flaviar model, or the Flaviar blend, I should say. So I was sitting around here, I was thinking, the night's going on, and I was thinking about a call that I had 2 days ago. Yesterday. And the client said, hey, we want to buy a house. Younger group, about my age actually. Younger group said, we want to buy a house and we're in California. We got to spend some money. They have money in savings, all is good there to put 20% down. But they said, we were just running some general numbers and we're like, are we better off just renting, right? We pay $4,000 a month now. We would buy this house and seems like we'd be better off renting. And at first I was like, no, what are you kidding? You crazy? Like, let's talk about that. And the more I was playing it through my head throughout yesterday and today, I'm like, at 7%, I got to know what the actual number is. And so I'm going to walk through this with you guys and I just see what happens. I honestly don't know what's going to happen, but I'll show you how I'll come about it, because I don't want to just be like, well, 30-year mortgage versus your rent going up 3% a year. There's more to it. So this could go really well or not. I've already pulled up a mock version of who these people are. So everything is accurate. It's just we're not using their names, right? So what they already have, we've been through this with them. So I knew this was a goal. They wanted to buy the house of $800,000. So that was already something. This family is 41. The wife is 41. He's 43. The kids, I don't know if that's actually it. That's probably not. I think the kid's a little older, but it doesn't matter for this calculation here. The income is good. We talked about this the other day. So I was going through their nest egg when we were going through this. I'm like, you guys have enough money. I mean, you're saving enough for retirement. All looks good. So you could buy a house. And we left it initially at like, yeah, you can buy a house. They really want to buy a house, by the way. And so what I am going to do here is I'm going to assume they stay in the house for 30 years. This family seemed to indicate that because they didn't ask any break even, like how long should we live in it before we break even? And they're just looking to kind of like settle down with the kids. So all of that part is accurate. And we won't worry about anything else college-wise or anything. So they've got enough money. Their current expenses, we did this. I did go through this with them. Current expenses are just a touch under $4,500, so we rounded up to make it harder. Let me make sure that this, when it copied... Okay, cool. So we got California in there, so make sure that the state is in there as well. Okay. So the goal is accurate. There's nothing to change here. I might pick on this a little bit. So let's see. We got 800,000. Property tax rate, I believe, is 0.71. 800,000. I think this number is maybe a little bit high, but that's okay. Let's make it a little bit harder. Insurance, 2,800. For them, that's their number, not mine. So I don't know. I would presume that number is going to be higher, but let's go safe here for a second. They do have 20% down. Current rate, 7% is what they're projecting. 30 years, and maintenance on this being about 1.5% a year. And so, some of these are debatable, but I want to have these costs because when we calculate this, we want to be able to see what the cost of everything is over the years. So 12,000 is actually probably pretty good. Okay, cool. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to cash flows, and I want to see first that, you know what they're doing? They're renting at the moment. Let me make sure that's in there. So, yep, that's right. Yep, it's coming back to me now. So they're renting $4,000 a month. I mentioned that earlier. That is being included now. However, the way the system's going to do this is say in 2024, for 30 years, they're going to own a house. All right, perfect. So we're dialed in here. We're accounting for everything. We want to do a comparable. And so I'm going to go to the summary. And we're going to go to expenses and just see that kicks in. So we've got housing expenses all starting here. This is going to be the principal and interest. This is everything included. This is the increase in property taxes throughout the year. We're accounting for inflation. It's going to go 30 years, so 53. Yeah, and see it drops back down. Okay, so we want to know what the total of all this is. And so let me download this. I don't actually have Excel, so this is going to be trouble. Okay, yeah, I get it. I don't have Excel. Okay, so we'll drop that into Google Sheets. So just so you know, what I'm doing here is I'm not paying for Excel on this computer because I don't have it on here. I don't really need it. Okay, so let's come in here. I'm gonna start a blank one and import. Sorry, I should have. This is ad lib, totally ad lib. So I don't know. I should have prepared this, but I wanted to play this. Okay, cool. So we got it. This is going to be a mess. So let's pull this out and just show you what I'm going to do. And I believe this will do it for me. So I'll go over here a little bit and that looks good. Okay, so we know we have housing expenses. Those numbers are the same. I'm going to go boop and select all the way through 53. All right, and Google Sheets adds it up for you. So they got $2.5 million worth of expenses. This is mortgage, interest, taxes, home repairs. And I didn't assume HOA. I didn't hear anything about that, so we'll assume that's that one. Okay, perfect. And just for fun, let's see, in 2053, what is it giving me for a home value? Primary and vacation homes, they only have one home, so let's go to 2050. Don't too far. 2053, 1.9 million. I don't know. That seems a bit low for California. You know what we could do? Hold on a second. We'll go California, or CA, and then we're going to look at price index. All right, so we could actually see. Okay, so this is a little bit higher, right? What is home inflation in California? You guys are nuts out there. You people. Let's see if we can make this bigger for you, because you won't believe me if I just tell you. So this is from, let's make sure, I want to do like over a window of time. I'm going to do 30 years. Okay, cool. So we got 1993, right? 1993, 03, 13, 20. That's 30 years. Home prices are up 335%. What? Yeah, son of a gun. Okay, so we're severely underestimating there. You guys, 335, 11%. Okay, so I'm only factoring 3%, just so you can see what's happening here. We have, see how this is growing? So the house value will grow this is always by the end of the year. So it will grow. This is all linear, right? This is not going to happen in real life. I get that. We can tell that's not going to happen because California real estate did have a downturn there. But it's counting 3%. So it's conservative. We could go over here and we could say under goals, Jesus, you guys, an 11%. I honestly didn't know that. We could say annual appreciation, I mean, 6%? I'm not putting 11 in there. That's nuts. Well, we know the other number was, so he's got $2.5 million in expenses. Just for fun, hang with me here. Let's just see. Net worth, property. If it goes up 6%, oops. Wow. Gee, so yeah, I mean, and if you look back over 30 years, so we're factoring 6%. California real estate's actually gone higher than that. Can you imagine a world where that's the case? Jeez. Okay, so you not factoring in the equity there, you could take that number however you like. I would assume that some clients will be more conservative, some will not be, but you pay $2.5 million in total expenses. The expenses of maintenance, property taxes, and insurance will continue, so there is the added cost. But for 30 years, you're in for $2.5 million. you have a house that's worth anywhere from 2 to 4.5 million, and historically it would have been worth a whole lot more. So that's throwing me off a little bit there. Nonetheless, let's go back and see how we're going to do this. Okay, so we're going to pretend now that they rent. So let's say I've got to answer this question that they rent. So I'm just going to go other goal. I'm going to make this simple so this doesn't take us all day. Rent. And we're going to say that this annual amount right now it's 4,000. So I'm going to go 48,000. This is going to start. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. This is going to start next year. Okay. And this is going to be every year for 30 years. So all I'm really doing is just trying to make this calculate inflation or the, no, wait a minute. And we don't want general inflation. Well, let's say property rent goes up 3% a year. Okay. I'm just, instead of using a calculator, I'm cheating. All right. So here we go. So now all I got to do is go over to retirement and let that calculate for a second. Ta-da. They're not going to do both of these, so that probabilities, of course, have changed. But we're going to come over here and we're going to say, now we have a goal. And the goal is another goal. We're just going to say, hey, that's rent. We know it's rent. We're renting. We're renting through 30 years and it stops. Okay. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing again. Goals. And I'm going to come back to this spreadsheet. I'm going to start a new tab. And I'm going to say import, upload, browse, goals. Ta-da. And we can just override it. And override it. What? Oh, open. All right. So now we have the other goals here of renting. And I'm going to say, let's tally that up all the way to 53. Could have just used a calculator for this. And we've got 2.35. Okay. So if they rent, they're going to, assuming rent goes up at 3%, they're going to spend 2.35. If they go back over here, if they buy, they're going to spend 2.5. That's total with everything in there. But their property value, my gosh. So is it cheaper to buy or rent? It is technically cheaper to rent at a 7% rate. Minor difference there. Of course, I'm taking out everything of, do I want to own a house and have a place for my family and not have to worry, all that. I'm taking all that out. So the answer is for them, just the cost, not the future equity and everything, because that's debatable. Yeah, it's technically cheaper to rent $2.3 million versus 2.5 million. Would I rent for 30 years? Me personally, no. I like fixing houses up and trying to add value and build equity and stuff. And that number of, where did it go? I got rid of it. The historic inflation rate. That's not a joke. That I swear to you, that is their data. That's not my data. Look, it's the actual California House Price Index. And you can see I set it to today, going back 1993, or yeah, it's a day off, 1993. And you can see this is where it started. Ta-da, ta-da. Didn't go up forever. We have our big 2008 decline there, but it's up 335%. And if you want to pretend that happens even 50% of what that is, then you're still factoring in a greater appreciation rate than what I did in the platform there. So my number would still be conservative at 6%. I don't feel good about that one, but it is California. So there's that, which means you'd have paid in 2.5 million. You'd have a house that's worth 4.5 million. So discounting the fact that, equity is being built in a house, it would be cheaper to rent. However, I wouldn't do that. I would still buy the house. Also, you got to think of one other variable there. That's assuming that at no time throughout the 30-year period is there an opportunity to get a lower rate. There's also the possibility of paying off the home earlier. These guys had plenty of money to do that. So these are a lot of variables now coming at you. But these guys had, if I take away that goal, because that's not realistic, they're not going to buy a house and rent at the same time. Just one last thing here. If I do this, I say, okay, we're going to buy the house. And I go to their cash flows. I believe they still had plenty of money. They were pretty good with their money. Summary. Yeah. So here's the year they buy the house, drain basically their savings account that they've been using to buy the house. Their cash flows are still strong. So they not only can they afford the house, they can afford more than $12,000 a year in expenses. And then when they retire, it becomes an issue, but it doesn't mess with their retirement at all. They're still very much going to have enough. So can they do it? Yes. Should they do it? I still would. But what an awesome question, right? It was just one of those where I'm like, I felt like it was close in my head. It is close. Now you have to think through, like, do you think real estate will continue to rally or to appreciate it that much? 30 years of data is not bad to use. So I think I would still buy the house. All right. That was a long one here today, but sorry, I should have probably done this ahead of time and then just shared the data with you, but it was just weighing on my mind. You ever have that? Someone says something to you and then that's the one thing that sticks with you for a while. But anyways, yeah, I would do it there. I will have to let them know. So that's it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. It is now morning time here, and I just, for whatever reason, I was on my head. So you guys enjoy it. Thank you for watching and putting up with me here tonight. You want me to do a scenario for you guys? You want to give me a scenario and we can work out something? Doesn't have to be a house. It can be a goal-related process. We like to plan for more than just retirement here, and of course, that's a great example. All right. Enjoy. Off to bed.